We have given them 24 hours to come up with concrete explanations. When that is not done, we will be forced to go to the Inspector General of Police to make a public demand. You understand? So that the whole world will know and bear us witness that a journalist went missing and the Nigerian government has failed in its responsibility, in its constitutional guarantee to protect its citizen.
We want him produced within the next 24 hours. Secondly, we want to advise the newspaper house where this gentleman works. He doesn't work in a newspaper that is run by one person, like some of our online newspapers and small papers that we have in Abuja here. He's not working for one of these small. He's working for what you can consider as a multinational. If you want to rate newspaper houses in Nigeria, Vanguard is like a multinational establishment. So we expect that Vanguard should hire private investigators. It's not difficult for Vanguard to pay private investigators to find out exactly what has happened to their own reporter. Vanguard should do that as a matter of fact. They should take it serious. The other time I read a report in the Vanguard, they said the police said they are making effort. Making effort how? What effort are they making to find out how this guy was forced to disappear?
The disappearance of Mr. Tordue Salem is not a one-off or a chance disappearance. For us at the NUJ, we remain persuaded that it was deliberate, it was targeted, and it was well coordinated and was undertaken not without the knowledge of security agencies. We challenge them to prove otherwise. If it were not so, as at this moment, they would have been able to tell us what efforts they have undertaken in locating the whereabouts of Mr. Salem. We want to say that there will be consequences for Mr. Salem's disappearance. We are using this opportunity as well to call on the international community to revert its mind that on June 30th, the NUJ launched the State of Press Freedom in Nigeria, which highlighted that 8 journalists were killed and 300 others have been brutalized, have been harassed, have been maimed just within 6 years. This adds to the disappearance of unresolved murders. And I want all of us to remember that in 2016, in June 2016, Jones Abiri went missing and emerged only 2 years later after consistent cries, after consistent advocacy by the media and other well-meaning organizations in this country. We pray this is not the Jones Abiri saga replaying itself all over again. The Nigerian government brought Jones Abiri out from detention after 2 years without any credible charge against him. So for whatever reason that Mr. Tordue Salem is being held, the courts remain the arbiter, the final arbiter in any matter. So perchance there is any reason to believe that he has committed crimes or allegations against him, he should be brought out and be charged to court. This is not a kidnapping matter. We remain convinced, if it were, the kidnappers would have made contact with his family, with his employers, and with organizations such as the NUJ. But that has not been the case. When Mr. Salem was declared missing by our colleagues, we quickly informed the police, as well as the Department of State Security. But as we speak, they have not reached out to us. There is no concrete reason to believe that they are making efforts to find out where he is, who is keeping him, and for this we believe that the security agencies are culpable in his disappearance.
If you remember very well, not just one CSO in this country has consistently talked about the issue of forced disappearance or forced disappearances. Even the Amnesty International has even written a booklet on the cases of forced disappearances. A lot of people will just go missing, and at the end of the day, the only way you find out that such person is in the detention of the security agencies is that if somebody somewhere manages to come out of those detention facilities, the person will now either inform the parents or either go to the media. You remember vividly, a girl was abducted by the police. She was arrested by the police in Owerri on the allegation, yes, that she is a girlfriend of a member of IPOB. And this girl was reported by the media to have been turned into a housemaid by the police. She was cooking for them, she was doing everything in the detention facility in Owerri before an NGO, an activist found out about it and exposed the matter. And it seems even the IGO police now has refused to respect the binding order of the court to release that girl, except if she was released yesterday or whatever. As the information available to us is that the IGP has refused to respect the listen. They're coming to this specific case. We totally believe that this guy was made to disappear by some persons either working for the deep state or persons working directly for the government. That is why we have consistently advocated the practice of either weekly or monthly visitation to all detention camps all over the country. And we want to use this opportunity to call on government, if we're serious about practicing constitutional democracy, there is no basis for the existence of underground cells like the type that DSS operates. The other time, I think it was Nnamdi Kanu, the first time he came out or whatever, he now gave names of some of the people he met in that place, you know, that have been there for about 4 years, 5 years. And look at this case of Ibiri that the chairman mentioned. We were even in court, we were in magistrate court when he was either brought to court or he came to court to challenge it. Yeah, you understand? So the case of this man, this is our colleague from the Vanguard, is not a mystery that will not be uncovered. And it is even shameful from all accounts that we got that he disappeared right in front of the police force headquarters. I think they said it was the total filling station that is next to the police force headquarters. That's where they said they saw him last. So what has happened to all the equipment that the security services have at their disposal to find out the conversations he has had before his disappearance? Who was his last caller? Who did he call? How come he left? They say he didn't go with his car. Who was he with? These things are not things that are so difficult for the police to put their hands on, or the DSS to be able to unravel where this guy has been, except if the state is responsible for his disappearance. That is the only way you can find that they will begin to dribble everybody, they begin to tell you stories. If the government is not involved in the disappearance of this Vanguard reporter, you know, so we want to call on the government to open up the detention centers for credible civil society organizations to pay, to organize regular visits. This is the kind of thing that chief judges are doing, but I think it is not just enough for the chief judges to just visit prison facilities. They should also visit detention facilities that have to do with like EFCC, like DSS, like police, and the rest of them. So this act of making citizens of this country to disappear because you are not very much comfortable with what and information they have is despicable, is reprehensible, is totally condemnable. And we want to also challenge the National Assembly. This guy was a reporter covering affairs of the National Assembly. The National Assembly should take it up also. We want to call on the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives to activate mechanisms to find out where their reporter, the person that reports their activities, has gone to, where he has been made to go to. Because from the police report, it doesn't seem that anything accidental happened to him. Because they say they have gone to all the mortuaries, they have gone to so many places to look for him, and he's not found, which means he is somewhere being kept by somebody, either a non-state actor or even a state actor. So this, and we have to stand firmly as journalists, because when these kind of practices are not confronted, the next day it will be escalated. It can be one person today, the next day it will be the second person. Some of us who have left active reporting and are in the civil society community, when we tell you the kind of harassment we get all the time, somebody can even call you on the phone. There was a time an official of Mieti Allah called me. I was making threats. There was a time that even Garba called me and was asking me, why do you hate me? So that's the kind of country we are, where you have a senior special assistant to the president calling a civil society activist and asking the person, why do you hate me? Just because of the positions that some of us take from time to time. So sometimes government officials take matters as personal matters, which is not how it should be. So we are charging the government to produce these journalists within the next 24 hours. And we want to urge the national body of all journalists to also find a way of taking action. Not just, it shouldn't just be a chapter here in Abuja. It should be a national issue, because one journalist that has been abducted or that has been made to disappear is as good as all of us that we have been similarly victimized. So it should be a joint effort. Abuja chapter of NUJ, the national body of NUJ, civil society organizations, because the journalists, you cannot operate as a civil society activist if you don't partner with the media, because the media is the fourth estate of the realm. They are very, very essential, they are very important, because you have to use the media to pass your messages, to enlighten Nigerians, to mobilize a civil society. So this action of just picking up somebody from somewhere just because he's a journalist or whatever is totally reprehensible, and we condemn it totally.
All the mortuaries and as well as police divisions here in Abuja to see if he was mistakenly picked, and nothing has turned up regarding whether he was dead or. Now the family reported him missing to the police, just like our colleagues at the National Assembly did and the NUJ to the police. And we've issued a statement, even if there were no formal reports to the security agencies, for the fact that it is out there in the media would have been enough reason to galvanize the relevant security agencies to act. But as we speak, there are no concerted efforts, there have been no deliberate measures, whether by the police or the DSS, beyond what the FCT Commissioner of Police, Mr. Sunday Babajide, said a few weeks, that the police were working on it. Our worry is that we live in a digital age where digital footprints are all over the place. You understand? And none of us, I do not think any of us, his colleagues, have been called by the police to say you're his contact, we found you on his phone, he called you 2 days, 3 days ago, and what did you discuss? We've not heard any of those, conversations. That is why we remain persuaded that the state has more explanation to do over the disappearance of Mr. Tordue Salem than any other person. They have the capacity to track. They should have been able to tell us, we've tracked his phone to a point, and this is what we found. But as we speak, there is no effort, there is no special task force that have been given the responsibility to track him. You understand? And if you look at history and you realize that citizens, journalists have gone missing in this country for 2 years and they will resurface later, then there is every reason to suspect that the government has explanation to do in this regard. Regarding the matter of, and to our colleagues, let me also say that you must take your physical and online security very seriously. 2023 is approaching very fast. We have desperate state and non-state actors that are willing to undermine your security, and they will go to any length and every length to ensure that they are not held accountable for their service or inactions to the Nigerian people. So each and every one of us must take our digital and physical security seriously. This is no time for us to be less vigilant concerning our safety. So let me thank us once again for being here. We will keep you abreast of events as they unfold. We will remind today, we will write a reminder to the Inspector General of Police on this matter, as well as the Department of State Security, and hope that they will have positive results for us in the next 24 hours. If they do not, they will be forced to stage a protest to the police headquarters in particular. Thank you very much.